Hey guys, and thank you so much for tuning into my channel. My name is DeLadysigner, and we are back with another speed build video of our city zoo. And in this episode, we're going to build the first habitat for Little Asia. So if you haven't seen it yet, we already posted the first episode with creating 2 gates towards this area, which are really cool. So definitely go and check that one out if you haven't seen it yet. So I asked you guys a question in that video of what to do with the amount of animals, and you guys agreed with me that we should move the orangutans from the primates house, which we have in our city zoo, towards the Asian area. And instead, I put the Western chimpanzees in that specific area. So the video you have right now on the channel with the first orangutan habitat in our city zoo will now be for the Western chimpanzees. And it looks really cool. They are together with the gorillas in that primates house. So I think it's a perfect fit for them. And it's really nice to also now build a habitat again for the orangutan. So this is the start of that habitat. I used the same wall piece set that we used at the hyenas and the lions, and I tried to edit it a little bit with this bamboo to give it a little bit of that Asian touch. We're going to try to create an Asian area, but still try to keep it in the city zoo style too, so with the same limestone colors. And someone actually mentioned to me that Pairi Daiza has white buildings with the Asian roofs and stuff, but it still feels a little bit like the city zoo style we are going for. So thank you so much again for suggesting that, because that was exactly what I was looking for. And I think we're still also going to add a little bit more Asian buildings, because I saw that in Pairi Daiza too, and they have some really cool buildings more in a brownish gold color. Not per se in the red colors that I was talking about in the previous episode. So I think that is also a better style to go for. So I'm really happy with that suggestion. So I'm definitely gonna use some more inspiration of Pairi Daiza and this specific area. Not that we're not going to use any other zoos, obviously, but for this habitat per se, I didn't really use a specific habitat as inspiration, but more like the style you see in Pairi Daiza, to use that a little bit to create that Asian vibe to it, but not per se like a habitat. So we have this staff building together with a building for the orangutans, and that little building you see on the right side, that is more for the staff to just walk to the lower layer, because there will be the habitat entrance for the staff, and also where the orangutans will come in, of course, into the habitat. So from there, they are able to walk up on a ramp and they come into the outdoor section of the habitat. And they have 2 raised areas, raised platforms, one for food, obviously. We have to make sure that the keeper is able to reach that. So yeah, unfortunately, you are still, again, building a little bit a habitat for a keeper instead of the animals. But other than that, I think this was a great solution. So the building also has an upper layer with also a glass wall. So from the other side, if the orangutans are inside, the guest can see the orangutans on the inside with sleeping and some toys and stuff. So they don't really have food in there. But because the keeper is not able to reach that indoor section, but they do have water also to make sure that they will go outside and inside frequently. So to just give them some kind of pathway to follow, if that makes sense. So there are 2 small little round entrances for the orangutans where they can actually climb towards to. So as I said, the keeper is not able to go to that higher section, and it looks really cool to have these 2 round openings for the orangutans to use. And they have 2 different ways to come up there. So one is from the feeding platform towards some kind of outdoor little shelter cabin thing, and they can go to one round entrance into the building, and there's another one where they can just climb up to a climbing frame and then walk on a higher level towards the higher opening in that building. So one thing I learned is that the habitat is really city zoo, like an old city zoo-ish style, because it's pretty much too small for them actually. And that is also to blame because I had to replace a lot of things inside of the building with climbing frames because of some reason they were just not able to walk everywhere. So a lot of the stuff it calculates as climbable and not really as like terrain in the habitat, but other than that it just looks really cool. I'm really super happy with the end result of this habitat. It's definitely different than what we're used to, and it's also, I think I got a little bit of inspiration from Koali Zoo too, and it's just a lot of fun to create an Asian themed style zoo area because I don't know, I just really like it. I like this combination of a city zoo and Asian theme, so I'm really looking forward to start building on the rest of the areas. So one other thing that is really cool, if you're not following my franchise mode series, I am using awesome creations in that series of my Discord members. And one of those Discord members, he made for the last episode a round restaurant. And in that round restaurant, you had like planters made by temple pieces, like the smallest temple pieces. I think you had more of like the ruins. So I really wanted to use that at some point in our city zoo. And I think this was just the perfect way to test it out, and we're probably going to use it more often in this little Asian area. But I really like the look of it, so I tried to create some kind of boundary out of it for like the lower level of the outdoor section and also the two raised sections in the outdoor area, and I think it looks just really awesome and it's a little bit new. So yeah, thank you guys so much again for that blueprint because it really inspired me. I really love it, and I hope you guys like it too, to see it in one of my builds. And obviously everyone can use it too. If you guys want to use it for your own zoos, definitely do it because it looks really cool, and it's so simple, but yeah, it just gives a whole different vibe to something. So I do realize that the shape of this whole habitat is still a little bit blocky, even though the outdoor section has a round shape to it. But obviously, the more we're going to build in this whole little Asian area, the more foliage and the more buildings we're going to add, I think it's going to be completely fine. It's a little bit the same with like the polar bear habitat, which we did, which felt really blocky to me at some point. But when I started to add more habitats to around it, it looked so much better already. So yeah, don't worry about that too much. I really am super happy with how this is looking for the start of our Asian area, and I'm pretty sure that it's going to be a super cool, cozy and dense and Asian vibe area. I think it's gonna be really cool. And that's also the idea, of course, for this area. I want it to be dense and like smaller habitats, really more of a city zoo habitat. So they are mostly a bit smaller than they should have right now according to the rules. So yeah, I really just like this idea, but obviously we're gonna make everything look nice and pretty for them and not like the same thing you would see in like really older zoos, which can be very plain and barren. We're really gonna create some beautiful, a bit smaller habitats, just also to see how everything feels and stuff. I just really enjoy doing this. So in the last episode, I also asked you guys because, hey, the list we made with the roadmap wasn't that big when it comes down to the Asian animals. So because the snow leopard is now in the land of the cold area, and we also decided along the way that we wanted to add the Japanese macaque to the land of the cold area. But you guys agreed with me that actually the Japanese macaque also really belongs into this Asian area, so it's still a little bit of a hard one. You guys also mentioned to me like maybe you should add the Bengal tiger or the Siberian tiger, but probably the Siberian tiger, by the way. You guys mentioned the Siberian tiger to be added maybe in the land of the cold, so you don't have two different tigers in the Asian area, which totally makes sense actually, so we might do that in a later stage. And also, don't forget, we have a white Bengal tiger and a white Siberian tiger still waiting in the training center. So I'm really excited that we're finally are able to build a habitat for these guys. So stay tuned for that, because I think we're going to build it pretty soon, maybe even the next episode. Yeah, I haven't made up my mind yet what animal I want to make a habitat for next, but that might depend a little bit of what area I'm going to start in. So what we do know is that either the Bengal tiger or the Siberian tiger will be in this area. So probably the Bengal tiger. We're going to add the giant pandas because obviously we have to make a giant panda habitat in Little Asia. We're going to add the timber wolves in this area. And some new suggestions of you guys, which I actually agree with, are the Formosan black bear, the Chinese pangolin, the Bactrian camel, and then, okay, probably the Japanese macaque. And many people also mentioned the Indian peafowls. Now, we actually have the Indian peafowls in a walkthrough habitat for the llamas, but I can see myself adding some peafowls in here too, or maybe replace them from the llama habitat to more of a park or like little garden area in this Asian area. I totally see them also being added in Little Asia. And also just to reply to a lot of you guys commenting like, oh, you should add the Indian elephant. I would love to, but realistically, we're already going to build a African safari at some point in the zoo, and we're also going to add the African elephant because of that. So realistically, we should not add two different elephants in this zoo, but well, this is not a realistic zoo, so we may, if I feel like I have so much space left and I feel like they still fit, I could potentially add them still. So I'm not saying I'm not going to add them, and I'm also not guaranteeing that I will be adding them, because I am guaranteeing that we're going to add the African elephant. So just so you guys know, and to answer all your questions, because I got really a lot of people asking for the Indian elephant. And I really love the Indian elephant, but we already did a habitat for them in mainland zoos, so that was also a little bit more of the reason why I wanted the African elephant in our city zoo. But yeah, who knows, guys, who knows? So the last thing, I just really wanted to have these habitats to be like very dense, well, not very dense, but at least more dense than we used to do in the habitats in our city zoo, to get a different vibe going on in this Little Asian section. So yeah, I really wanted to use a lot of the bamboo, because I know that in at least Dutch city zoos, which are in the same temperate biome in Europe, they also have a lot of bamboo also outside. So I do know that realistically bamboo is able to grow here if you plant it, like obviously not naturally, but as far as I know, bamboo is able to grow here. So I think that totally makes sense to also just use a lot of the bamboo in this whole Asian area, because I think it's just really fitting. And also I really wanted to use the green mossy rocks for a change, because I never really used them, and I see Mike Sheets using them so often in the Koali Zoo, and I think Rudy also does. So yeah, I just really wanted to use those green rocks for a change. So that is something we're also going to do more often in this whole Asian area, also to get to know and get to use of the mossy rocks, and so far I really like the look of them. So yeah, I really hope you guys like it. So let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think of this first orangutan habitat in Little Asia. Leave a like at the video if you guys enjoyed, and subscribe of course if you haven't already. And if you want to support the channel a little extra, you may want to consider to become a Fay Fam member with the link in the description. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope to see you guys all in the next one. Bye guys! you.